That's all she do.
Okay, so how many of you would let you or someone you know drive to school drunk or under the influence? Probably not many of you. But how many of you know someone or even yourselves that drive to school on only a few hours of sleep and are really tired all the time? Most of us. Well, according to the Archives of Internal Medicine, you're actually just as likely or 2 times likely to get into an accident if you're drunk or fatigued. And then according to a National Geographic documentary, Sleepless in America, the #1 cause for the highest severity car accidents is actually being tired and without resting. So that brings me to my thesis, which is a later school start time for high school classes would result in more sleep time, which is beneficial to students because adequate sleep elevates mood, enhances health, and improves academic performance. So according to the National Sleep Foundation, sleep deprivation can actually cause like a reduction in the abilities to listen, concentrate, and coping with stress, and also leads to feelings of hopelessness and depression, which is really critical for teenagers because we're really susceptible to being depressed, especially under the amount of stress that some of us are under, including jobs, balancing school, that type of thing. And something that proved this was a Minnesota study on Minneapolis high school students where they changed the school start time for school from 7:15 to 8:40. And students were more active in class, they weren't falling asleep on their desks, and even at lunch and in the hallways they were less frantic. Parents also reported that their students were less depressed, and they noticed that they watched TV actually less and did homework more because of how they were feeling. Okay, so for the health. So since it's a critical period in developing and we don't fully develop until our early 20s, what we do in our teenage years is really important in how much sleep we get. Because actually sleep correlates with your blood pressure, and sleep deprivation can cause a rise in it, and also it can deplete your insulin resistance, and that is a cause for diabetes, which is a growing epidemic among teenagers in this generation as well. Sleep-deprived students are also found to be more irritable, and lack of control can lead to the increased use of drugs, marijuana, alcohol, etc. And with the use of tobacco or drugs and alcohol, your brain functioning and decision making hinders, as well as turning to caffeine for when you're tired, because a lot of us drink probably coffee or tea in the morning. I know I do. And the thing about caffeine and those caffeinated drinks like sodas and Monsters is that we still don't know the full effects of it and the full effects of it on a developing brain. Okay, so for improving academic performance. So there's actually a study done in North Carolina in Wake County in 2012 where 146,000 middle school students started school an hour later. And with that hour later, they found that their test scores in almost every core subject increased 2 to 3%. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but for some of us that could be a whole letter grade. And 2 to 3% is a lot, especially among 146,000 students. According to a sleep specialist, actually, Dr. Christopher Murray, attention, focus, memory, and cognitive ability are all improved with later start times, and sleep deprivation hinders all of this. It reduces your alertness, attention, and ability to cope with stress and retaining information. And retaining information is all your memory, and our memory is so important when it comes to school, especially for tests, quizzes, that kind of thing. So, this is a graph that pretty much just shows a study of 100-something kids, and they were just asked, how are you feeling right now? And based on the amount of hours they had slept, rested, or sleep deprived, as you can see in almost every category, calm, happy, excited, the well-rested student replies with a higher score on the rating scale. Okay, so for my service, I decided to do a public service announcement because I like to make videos in my free time. And what I did was I gathered up a bunch of students from Mallard Creek, and pretty much I let them know about what they're missing out on in that 1 hour of sleep. And I had them make a public service announcement. And pretty much in the video, you're going to see they're just stating like what the problems with sleep deprivation, why we need to change it, and it's all from the voice of the students. And then I also posted it on my social media, that kind of thing. I stayed after school, so that's how I got my hours in. I don't have a fourth block, so I stayed after for a few days and then edited the video.
Sleep. We all need it to survive. It helps to elevate mood, enhance health,
and improve academic performance. Without it,
we get increased feelings of
depression,
hopelessness, irritability,
increased growth, changes in memory,
high blood pressure, and lack of control. This is a public health issue. It changes us. Yet,
do you care about your students?
Do you want us happy? Do you want us healthy? Do you want us to excel in school?
we are here this early for the convenience of adults, not for the benefit of students.
We, the students, are the future.
So let us sleep.
Did it
Let
lost?
us sleep. So let us sleep. So let us sleep. Just let us sleep.
That drops. Okay, yeah, so as you can see, that was the public service announcement. And actually, you could tell in the videos, I had clips of students that were asleep, and they were actually asleep, and a lot of them were actually from this first block. And then I would, like, when they woke up, I would tell them, can I use this for my video? But yeah, what I did with that video was I sent it to actually the CMS Board of Education chairman. Her name is Mary McCrae, and then the vice chairman, Elise Deshoe. And I sent them along, like there's the email, along with like the information and the senior exit, what I was doing with it, and they still haven't responded. But if we want ourselves and want our students to be astute and successful and well-rounded and healthy students, could sleep be the answer? Thank you. What questions do you have for me?
So I'll ask you two questions for the video as well. What was the most challenging part of the senior exit project?
Well, for me, the most challenging part was making that video and getting the students out of their classes to record it, and editing. I didn't realize like how much time it would take to do just a 1 minute something seconds video, and so I learned a lot doing that.
And if you could change one thing, what would you change?
I would have done more with it. I would have probably added more, and I would have sent it to more people and maybe actually tried to implement and change. I think I would have just taken 2 steps further in letting people know why this hour of sleep could actually really help us.
There you go. Awesome.